coastlines, a rich history. All of these make South Africa a dream destination. The people, the cultures, the wildlife, and first world cities. But too often, that dream can turn into a nightmare. The reason? Crime. Assaults, rape, homicides, and other violent crimes are affecting the industry's potential for economic growth and job creation. Tourism's direct and indirect contribution to our GDP was at 8.2% in 2023. It's an important sector because this is expected to grow even more. But how much is this crucial contributor to our economy being hurt by runaway crime? The Minister of Tourism is Patricia de Lille and is our guest this morning. Thank you for your time, Minister. Always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Good morning, Bongani. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. It's good to hear you.
Thank you.
Let's talk. The perception of South Africa as an unsafe destination does us a great deal of harm, doesn't it?
Yes, indeed, but we do have plans in place. I'm thinking here about what's happening in the Wild Coast at the moment, where, I have contacted the Minister of Police and the Police Commissioner, and together with South African Police, we got a commitment that more police will be deployed down there. And we are hoping also to work closer with our communities because this crime, the impact of crime directly impact on our communities and the income that they derive from tourism. And that's why, in launching our summer campaign last week in Bloemfontein, we partnered with the private sector so that we are able to offer some discount deals to South Africans. We understand the high cost of living. We understand that sometimes it's not affordable. And this partnership is beginning to show great hope for us. And we will continue to, together with the private sector and the police, work around the safety issue. But I'm very confident that despite all of this, we have seen a growth in the tourism sector. Just in the first quarter of this year of 2024, we have seen that tourism contributed more to our GDP directly and indirectly, more than mining, construction, and also transport. So if we all work together to continue marketing our beautiful country like you described it this morning, it can be a win-win for all of us. Last year,
Yes,
tourism...
Yes, of course. We all want, the tourism sector to thrive because many of us are tourists ourselves domestically, right?
Yes.
But the truth is, Minister, as residents, as citizens, many of us have learned to live with the reality of crime, and we try to take measures to prevent being victims. It's not so easy for tourists, is it? I mean, I'm thinking of recent attacks. There was that German family traveling to the Kruger. The man was shot dead in front of his family. That was the same story with that British surgeon killed in front of his family in Nyanga. In Cape Town, they were diverted there during a taxi strike. You hear of hijackings in Mpumalanga. There's issues, you've mentioned the Wild Coast in the Eastern Cape. In fact, there's already a caution for people to be wary about visiting that province. So this thing is widespread, and you almost wonder, is anywhere safe?
Well, we certainly regret the attack on any tourist, whether it's an international or a local tourist. It is the mandate of the South African Police Services to keep all South Africans safe, including our visitors. And therefore, since last year already, when we put the plan together to counter these attacks with the private sector, we went out of our way to brief all the foreign missions in South Africa and our own foreign missions abroad about the plans that we have put in place. The Department of Tourism invested 174 million rand, and we've employed over 2,300 young people that were trained with the NQ Level 3 qualification and trained by the police. And we've deployed them to all of these frequently visited sites across the country. And we continue to work with communities, with SMMEs, in our townships, our villages, our small dorpies. And we have to continue to do that because it does impact on a decision by an international tourist whether to come to our country. But the beauty that we offer, the biggest asset that we have got in tourism, it's the people of South Africa. We're also happy that finally we dealt with all the red tape around the visa regime for visitors from China and India. They will certainly benefit now by reducing the red tape. And again, the Tourism Business Council put in some funding there. So there's a great effort and a collaboration and cooperation amongst the public and private sector. And if we continue to work like this and continue to market our country, because great opportunity next year for us when we will be hosting the G20 summit in South Africa, and a big opportunity for tourism. So yes, we are trying our best, Bongani, working together with the private sector and the police and all our stakeholders to do our best.
Let's talk about your white paper. It calls for an intelligence-based tourist safety program. What does that mean?
Well, what it does mean is that, first of all, the mandate to keep South Africans safe is with the South African police. And even the police has admitted that, they do lack some crime intelligence within their fight against crime. And that also impact on the tourism sector. And the point that we are making is that it is not just that we single out tourists and the safety of tourists are more important than local South Africans. No, the tourism sector is impacted also by the lack of crime intelligence within the police. But we know, the commitment from the Minister of Police, the Commissioner, and we know that they are working hard behind the scenes to deal with the gap of crime intelligence within the police services.
But are you specifically calling for a force that will look after tourists specifically?
No, not at all. I have responded especially to Justice Malala that wrote a piece about how ludicrous it is just to look after tourists. He's completely not read the white paper. When we were designing and consulting on the white paper, we received over 3,500 inputs from the communities, from the public sectors. And one of the proposals was that we should investigate the possibility of having dedicated tourist police. And we can't ignore the proposals coming from the public consultation. But there's no cry out for a special dispensation for tourists alone. But we are calling for a dispensation where all South Africans can feel safe in our country, including our visitors.
Of course, we are approaching the peak travel season in South Africa, and we hope that it's going to be a safe, festive season. Minister Patricia de Lille is the Minister of Tourism.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.